So first, the 12.1 release runs on the latest Eclipse, that is 2024-06. This, of course, as always, comes with many updated projects, and CDT version is now 11.6 and eGit 6.10. If you have the habit of running Eclipse with the JVM that it comes with, then you will not have any issues and maybe not even notice that it now requires and uses a Java 21 VM. But if you run with an external VM, you need to make sure that it's a Java 21 VM. Otherwise, there will be a warning message when you start Model RealTime. One big feature that we have in both 12.1 and 12.03 is that you now can start using code RealTime together with Model RealTime. So just a recap for those of you who may not remember exactly now what is code RealTime. It's a version of Model RealTime, you could say, that is runs in Visual Studio Code and Eclipse Thea, and it allows to create the same kind of applications as you can do with Model RealTime, but in a more textual way, and still with diagrams, but with a more focus on code. And with this feature, you can now take your art files and libraries that you create in code RealTime and use them in your Model RealTime application, just as if you would have done them in Model RealTime itself. This first version of this feature is still experimental because it still supports only a subset of what you can do in code RealTime, but we are planning, of course, to grow this to cover everything in the language in a future release. And speaking about code RealTime, at the same time as we release these Model RealTime releases, we also release code RealTime 2.0, and it contains many improvements. One that I will briefly show in the demo, since it's related to the other feature and mentioned here, is the art debugger. So that is a possibility to debug your applications in code RealTime, very similar to how it works with the model debugger in Model RealTime. And the good news here is also that since the target RTS is the same in Model RealTime and code RealTime applications, it actually works to use the art debugger also for applications that we have created with Model RealTime. We've also worked on improving the way we manage multiple trace sessions that run in parallel. So previously it could happen that settings from one such trace session affected other parallel trace sessions. Now they are fully isolated from each other. With this new version of eGit, we realized that our eGit documentation had become a bit outdated, so we took the decision to kind of revamp it completely from scratch, more or less, and update everything to be up to date with the latest version of eGit. At the same time, we also have made it available as regular help pages. Previously, it was only available as a PDF, so now you can more easily link to the interesting parts of this documentation. There is also a new version of the target RTS with these releases, and in that version we have addressed some warnings that some popular static code analysis tool could report when compiling the target RTS. There are also now possibility to configure the free list. So the free list is the area in the target RTS where messages that are not currently participating in any communication are stored. And it's important for application performance that you can control the size of the free list, so both the minimum and maximum size, and also how many messages each message block in the free list should contain. So previously these values were hard-coded, now they are configurable by means of new settings or macros. And then there is also a change that you will not notice until you dig into details, and that is that the debugging has improved by a new JSON-based API. That is basically the implementation used by code RealTime, but it's of course also available in Model RealTime since we are sharing the target RTS. Then those of you who are using the HL branded version of Model RealTime will notice that there is a new licensing solution and a new software portal from where to download the tool and the software. But since not all of us in this call are HL users, I will not talk more about it now, but instead there will be a separate communication coming out with information on what you need to do to adopt this new licensing solution. In last sprint, we demoed some improvements to the copy element URI, which now supports to navigate into a specific line in a code snippet. A feedback we got back then was that it would be useful if this could be done with a key binding, so that you can invoke it as an Eclipse command. So that we have now done in this sprint. We also noticed that sometimes it's necessary to configure the startup time limit for the build server. That is something we noticed in 12.1, and we did that change in 12.1 only. So what you will notice is that there is a new preference where you can set this time limit. So by default, it's now 30 seconds. If you reach this limit, and you will see during the demo what it will look like then you can raise this limit. And I also like to mention a newsletter that was sent during the sprint about how you can develop on Windows but build for Linux using the Windows subsystem for Linux, WSL. So if you didn't receive that the newsletter but are interested, then you can find it in our info center under newsletter section. You can also, if you want to receive future newsletters, write to us on this email address that you see here. We promise we will not spam your inbox. We usually just send 3 to 4 newsletters per year, so it should be acceptable, I think. So to summarize the deliveries, we are shipping Model RealTime 12.1 for use by Eclipse 2024-06. I also like to mention one reason, or actually why we did it so quickly this time, is partly because there was an XML parser vulnerability in older Eclipse that was not fixed until in 2024-06, or at least we couldn't adopt it until then. So that vulnerability is now addressed. It had to do with an accidental enablement of external entities in XML. So if you got an XML file that it could basically access things on your machine. So if you are concerned about that, that's another reason to upgrade to 12.1 quickly. And 12.03 we release for 2023-06, mainly for those of you who are not able to uplift to 12.1 quickly, but still want to have these improvements that we will mention here. We haven't changed anything on the older versions. Here you see the version numbers for the latest on those tracks. But you should note that if you're still using 11.1 or 11.2, they will both go out of support already on September 30, so quite soon. So it's recommended that you uplift to a newer version before that, preferably 12.1. Also some words about Code RealTime 2.0 that you of course use then on Visual Studio Code or Eclipse Thea. And I'd like to remind you that as a Model RealTime user, you are also entitled to use Code RealTime, and there is no additional cost, so you can just download it and get started. And we've also decided, since we know some of you are evaluating and using Code RealTime and are interested in it, we have decided to have a separate sprint demo for Code RealTime on Wednesday. So there will be an invitation sent out. If you're not interested yet in Code RealTime, you just feel free to skip it. But if you want to hear about this Code RealTime 2.0, you're more than welcome to join on Wednesday. This slide summarizes the experimental features we currently have in the product. So the support for art files, which allows you to use Code RealTime libraries in Model RealTime applications, is experimental. Text-to-state machines is also experimental, has been there for a while, and our plan is to eventually replace it with the support for art files when we support capsule state machines, because then there is not really any point to have another similar notation for text-to-state machines. The support for Mac OS on ARM, we are still thinking that there is some more testing we need to do before we can declare official support for that platform.